What is going on, everybody? It is Monday, April 20th, and we've got to recap everything that happened last night, plus dive into our best for today. Now, okay night. MLB, we are still, I don't know, we're still figuring things out. I debate whether I should even bet it at this point, but it's a long season. We'll figure it out. We'll get it going in the right direction. But NBA looked good, NHL looked good, soccer was brutal beat, but the bets looked good. It just unfortunate timing. So let's dive in, starting with the NBA as always. Recapping 2-1 night. Maxey clears his assist line in the third quarter. It was pretty free at 5 in the before half. Got the next 2 in the third. We were good to go. And Magic Pistons did hit the under. They were about 13 points under, so wasn't really too worried there on that game as well. SGA was on pace to crush his PRA, but they also crushed the team they were playing, so he didn't play in the fourth. So he unfortunately sat out in the fourth, ended about 30 PRA. We needed 40. Unfortunate there, but went up 1.13 units, and on the season we are only down 3.3, which unfortunate we're down, but starting in the playoffs we were down almost 6, so we're going in the right direction for only it being 2 playoff games. Now, bets for today. Taking Jalen Brunson under 39.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's taking on the Hawks tonight. And this is a 1.25 unit play, so 1.25 units on it. He's a little inflated going up against his season average. And these Hawks, they match up with the Knicks style, and they match up with Brunson defensively. So I think he's going to struggle a little bit here in tonight's game. Not going to get the same points and looks that he typically does, which is why we're kicking it up a quarter unit to put it on Brunson under 39.5 PRAs. Next, Evan Mobley over 9.5 rebounds. Him to just grab 10 boards or more. Another 1.25 unit play. Mobley going on the court most of the game. Toronto can generate, plenty of rebound opportunities, but he's going to be the one who's going to grab those easy boards. He's the main big that's going to be in the game. He's going to have those minutes on the court. I think him grabbing 10 boards is going to be no problem for him in this game. So that's why we're kicking up a quarter unit there as well. And then to make up for it, Jokic under 52.5 PRA going up against Timberwolves. This is a half unit play. Now the reason for the half unit, it's Jokic. He can kind of do what he wants. But I think in a matchup defensively, the Timberwolves actually have the ability to kind of stop Jokic and make it a little bit more difficult for him. Obviously, Jokic can go out there and drop 30, 10, and 10 and get this done, no problem. But I think they're going to be a little bit more physical in the paint. I don't think he's going to get those easy boards with the Timberwolves having Gobert in there. Anthony Edwards is kind of moving around. He's pretty physical as a guard. So I think that's going to be a little bit more of a difficult spot for Jokic to get 52.5, so 53 points, rebounds, and assists. Like I said, he would need 30, 10, and then 13 boards or something like that. And I don't think he's going to get that very easily in this game. So that's why it's a half unit, because obviously Jokic can basically do what he wants on the court, but I don't think it's going to be all that easy for him in this game. So those are our 3 best bets for tonight. Now we head over to the diamond, and God, I hate diamonds. 0-4 night. It's brutal. I don't get it. At this point, it's tough to bet. I want to bet it because I enjoy watching it. And obviously we want to turn this around and get things going in the right direction. But Pirates, their offense sucks unless you bet them as a no-run first inning, and then they just score a run in the top of the first randomly. They've done that twice now. They didn't score again until the 6th, but for some reason they just felt in the top of the first they wanted to score. And then we're looking at other bets there. Matt Chapman gets a hit. It's only a single. Doesn't get another hit. Unfortunate beat there. And then it's just all around. Like, they're good bets. You see the reads. The things happen, and then they just fall short. And it's like, bro. Robbie Ray was a miss. He was down 0-3 when they took him out in the 5th. So just not a good read there. But, I mean, it was a good read. He just didn't play to what he can play as. So it's just unfortunate. So down 4 units, down 15.2 units on the season. Got to turn that around. Got to figure things out there. But let's go into best bets for tonight. Ronald Acuna, 2+ bases. Acuna can certainly get this done. With a multi-hit game, or he also has the ability to hit a home run. So you can get a double, get a multi-hit. He's kind of got both those options. Not like a Judge or an Ohtani where you kind of really bank on a home run for this. He can get multi-hit games pretty easily for him. Not pretty easily, but it happens quite a bit for him. And then he also has the speed to turn a long single or a single for a lot of people into a double. So he can kind of get it done there as well. He hits a single out in between, left and center. He has the speed to potentially get that done and move it into a double rather than just being a single. And plus, he top of the lineup, bats top 3, so he gets more looks just naturally. As the game goes on, he's going to get more looks than the rest of his lineup, so that never hurts when you're looking at bases. So Ronald Acuna, 2+ bases. For some reason, on DraftKings, the 2+ bases has better odds than the over 1.5. It's the exact same bet, but it just has better odds, so obviously I go with the better odds. Next up, Royals money line. Now, this game should be a coin flip, but they're putting Orioles as a slight favorite. But everything, looking at this, even down to the pitching, down to the offense, honestly, Royals should probably have a little favorite, but people don't bet the Royals. So the Orioles have a slight favorite as far as odds go. This should be a coin flip. It pushes the value to the Royals, which is why we're taking them on the money line. So Lugo, excellent arms to open up, certainly cause trouble for the Orioles, and I would favor the Royals bullpen a little bit higher than the Orioles. The Orioles have lost some games in those late innings due to their bullpen. They've gotten a decent opening start, and then it's 5-3, and then come the 7th, 8th, 9th, it's all of a sudden 7-5, 7-3. It unfortunately doesn't work out for the Orioles in the bullpen. So taking Royals money line straight up there. Then Cease, strikeouts. Somebody we're not a stranger to. Dylan Cease of the Blue Jays taking on the Angels tonight, and I'm taking his over on strikeouts. So Angels heavy strikeout team. And Cease we know can certainly strike people out. He's expecting Cease to go 5 into the 6th inning before he gets taken out. Certainly gives him plenty of opportunities to get 7 strikeouts that he needs, the over 6.5. So thinking Cease gets that done tonight, going up against the Angels, who are a heavy strikeout team. Lastly, the bane of our existence, the no-run first inning. We're taking the Phillies versus the Cubs. We have a lower total with reliable starting pitchers in there, so inconsistent Cubs offense. I think really the only risk here is the Phillies, but they haven't had the bat pop that they typically do with home runs and things. So you're looking at 2 or 3 hits to try to get one on, move them around, and then get them to score. So I don't know if that necessarily happens right in the first with the 2 solid pitchers that we have going. So no run first inning, Phillies versus Cubs. NHL recap: 1-2 last night. The Avalanche, they were up 2-0 with 2 minutes left, and they let up a goal. Unfortunate. They still win 2-1, but they don't cover the -1.5 spread, so that's kind of tough. Lightning, 3-3. They go into overtime. Lightning are the ones that end up losing. They don't get that goal going in. It's unfortunate, but those things happen. They are good reads. You can see they're right there. They're good. They play it out. If you sweat the bet, it's typically a good read. It just didn't go your way, which is fine. I like those reads. You can keep working those. It's the ones where it's like, what just happened? This is done in the first period or the first half or first 4 innings. Like, those reads are the ones where you screwed up a read. These last 2 minutes, overtime, like those things I'm not too worried about. And then we did get Luke Kinnon. He got a point in the first. I actually scored in the first period, so easy there. Went down 1.05 units, and on the season we are still up 6.65 units, so looking good there. And now, best bets for tonight, we're taking the Penguins money line on the 3-way card. So tie is an option here. We want Penguins to win in regulation. It's home ice for the Penguins. A lot of emotion, a lot of energy, a lot of tension in that opening game. This is the Battle of Pennsylvania. And I think the Penguins, they're going to rely on their veteran core, calm things down, push on. Penguins do have an edge in the power play scenarios. So I think that's definitely something that you want to pay attention to as well. As we saw in the Lightning game, all of the goals the Lightning let up were on power plays, or 3 of the 4. So it ruined them last night. They would have won 3-1. Instead, they go to overtime. They lose 4-3 on a power play. So they had 7 penalties last game, 7 or 8. It just seemed like there was always somebody in the box. So you can certainly see how those will affect a game. So having a team favoring them on the money line and having them have the edge in power play scenarios doesn't hurt. So Penguins money line on the 3-way card. Then Oilers, looking for them to cover against the Ducks. Oilers have the ability to score 5, 6, 7 goals even. We know who they are. We know how they play. And I think the Ducks aren't typically playing to that tempo. I think this game could get out of hand really quickly for the Ducks. If Edmonton comes out, they're the last ones to play game 1. I think they're going to be rested. They're going to have a lot of energy. They're going to come out and fly up and down this ice for the first period. If they can get 2 goals in the first, 2, 3, I mean, it's certainly possible with this core group of Edmonton players. The Ducks are going to be scrambling. I think the Oilers are going to be able to handle this, cover the spread, -1.5, going up against the Anaheim Ducks for game 1 there. And then we do have a bet for every game, so I like watching the playoff hockey, so I like to have a little bit of something going on it. Wilds versus Stars, 4-1 game in Wild's favor. Last time, I'm taking the under 5.5 total goals. With the start from last game, I don't think anyone expected Dallas to look like how they did. I'm assuming they were going to probably steer the ship right, get things going, and a shutout from Dallas would go a long way to silencing Wild momentum. If they can come out here and they win 2-0, 3-0, and just shut down the Wild, that would be a big statement for this series. And I think that's what they're going to try to come out here and do tonight. Maybe it's 3-1, maybe it's 4-1. Still keeps us under that 5.5 goal total. But I really think we're looking at a 3-0 game if the Dallas come out and do what we know Dallas can do. They're a playoff team. They have the experience here. I think Wild were just excited for being there, really hyped up, and I don't think the Stars were really ready for that. They're going to be a little bit more prepared tonight. Lastly, Frederik Andersen. Over 21.5 saves. I was struggling there because I had saves over 21.5, and it was a tongue twister. Senators had 22 shots and got shut out. I imagine they're going to be pushing even more shots to try to get one past Andersen here. And obviously, I mean, you get 22 shots and don't let up a goal, you're a pretty decent goalie. So I think Andersen certainly has the ability to save the additional shots that are going to come at him. And I think the Senators, nobody likes to get shut out. They're going to push hard. They're going to try to get a goal past him. With those opportunities come more shots, which also means more save opportunities for Andersen. Plus, this is even lower. Even last game where they got shut out, they weren't really a offensive, I don't want to say offensive threat. They were certainly an offensive threat, but they weren't putting things together. They were just kind of throwing shots in, especially towards the third period. I think 10 shots came in the third, so they were at 12 through the first 2, and then 10 came in the third. They were just throwing shots at him. I think we're going to see a little bit more of a push, a little bit more of a unit with the Senators, which also means more shots, but Andersen can certainly save them. So over 21.5 saves for Frederik Andersen. No plays for golf, but we do want to recap the RBC Heritage. Obviously, come Wednesday or Thursday, we'll be looking at the Zurich Open that's coming this weekend, but right now, sticking to just recapping, Scotty did get the top American. He ended up first and then losing in the playoff tee on when they replayed the 18th hole to Matt Fitzpatrick. So that is who ended up winning the Open, or not the Open, the RCB Heritage. Woodland did win his matchup pretty handedly. I think he was -3, and then Rotgier was +2, so pretty decent win there. And then Straka unfortunately struggled. Fell, I don't even know if he made top 20. He fell quite a bit. I think he was +2 on the day. So unfortunate for him. We did go up 0.43 units, and on the season, we are down 3.62 units. That includes the Masters, and this past weekend, we were down 2 units from the Masters, down 1.6 from this weekend. So want to get those things righted away, but it's first 2 tournaments of the season. I kind of start the season with the Masters. I know there's a couple that happened before, but the Masters is the big, okay, golf's back. That's when I start looking at it. So just recapping golf there. Recap of soccer or football for our overseas friends. 1 and 2. The Villa score 4, easily cash that. I think they scored over 3 in the early minutes of the second half, so no problem there. Everton Liverpool. The under was looking pretty good, and then they got 12 minutes of stoppage time. They scored the third goal in 10 minutes of stoppage time. That's just brutal. Those are one of those reads, like not a bad read. A goal in the 10th minute of stoppage time, you're not projecting that. Like that's just not what you're projecting. So unfortunate read there. And then Man City Arsenal, they got to 3 as well. They did that about 70 minutes in. They got the third goal, and then it ended 2-1. So unfortunate read there as well, but what are you going to do? Down 1.2 units, and as this is our first read of soccer, that is our season total, down 1.2 units. Now, the only game that looks pretty interesting today is the Crystal Palace versus West Ham game, and I am going to take Crystal Palace on the money line with a tie, no bet. So if they do tie, it pushes, voids the bet, gives a bet. But Palace are the favorites here, and then I like removing that bet chance just in case. You do get better odds, obviously, if the bet is involved, but no bet. Crystal Palace is a favorite. If they win outright, good. We get the bet. If they don't, they tie, we get that bet back. So just kind of a little bit there, a little bit of a safer option, maybe avoid. And then looking at the game going under 2.5 goals, the EPL, the English Premier League, tends to have tighter scores, a little bit more of a script, a little bit more passion. And with that, they tend to play a little bit more cautiously, as we saw yesterday. It was 1-1. It was 1-1 for a good per duration of the game. Everton Liverpool gave it up in the 100th minute through stoppage time. And then Man City Arsenal 2-1. Still a tight game. Not a bad read. It's not like it was 5-4 or some insane goal number. Still a pretty close, tight game. We're just looking for them to say 1-0, 1-1, 2-0, something like that. We're good here. So those are our bets for Crystal Palace and West Ham game. And those are all our bets for Monday, April 20th. And let me know in the comments what you like, what you're tailing. And until next time.